This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. A man is in police custody this afternoon after he was allegedly found in possession of an unlicensed firearm here in the capital. Police say the male suspect was arrested sometime around 9:35 Thursday morning following a search. Reports indicate that it was at that time officers from the operations unit acting on information went to a residence on Canaan Lane. On their arrival, a search was conducted, which resulted in the discovery of a silver revolver. Investigation into this matter continues. Members of the Royal Bahamas Police Force continue Operation Just Road, with the goal being to encourage members of the motoring public to drive safer. At 6:45 a.m. today, a road safety operation on John F. Kennedy Drive was conducted by a team of officers from the Western Division under the leadership of Superintendent Chase Wolhana, assisted by Assistant Superintendent Dino Josie, and in partnership with officers from the Traffic Division under the direction of Inspector J. Thompson. A total of 106 citations were issued for a variety of infractions, included 86 cases of driving in excess of the speed limit, 9 cases of driving while not properly secured in a seatbelt, 6 cases of driving while not in possession of a valid insurance certificate, 2 cases of driving with the window or window shield not of transparent glass, 1 case of driving while not covered by third-party insurance, 1 case of failing to signal, and 1 case of driving a vehicle with no front plate attached. Some of those who were ticketed for speeding clocked up speeds of nearly 80 miles per hour. The Royal Bahamas Police Force also noted that a number of drivers with small children were in the front seat with no seat belts. Officers asked that members of the motoring public drive safe and ensure that all passengers are properly secured. Several migrants were arraigned in the magistrate's court over on Grand Bahama for various immigration infractions. Haitian national Ismaine Joseph was arraigned in Court 1 before Deputy Chief Magistrate Debbie Ferguson, charged with illegal landing. She pleaded guilty to the offense and was subsequently convicted and fined $300. In default of payment, she is to serve 3 months at the Bahamas Department of Correctional Services. According to reports, on the 27th of April, acting on information, a team of immigration officers went to a location in the Holmes Rock area where they searched nearby bushes, which resulted in the apprehension of Miss Joseph, who admitted to illegally entering the Bahamas via boat in 2019. An additional check of immigration records confirmed that Joseph had no legal status in the country. Also appearing before Magistrate Ferguson was Jamaican national Everton Dennis Sims, who was charged with possession of forged Bahamas immigration landing stamps and overstaying, pleaded guilty to both charges. He was convicted and fined $1,000 on each count, or default of payment, serve 1 year per count consecutively at BDOCS. Also, on the 27th of April, immigration officers acting on information went to a residence in the Holmes Rock area. Officers were invited in by the owner of the home to search the residence. During the search, Ms. Sims was discovered in one of the bedrooms and asked to produce proof of legal status in the country. He produced his Jamaican passport, which on the surface showed major inconsistencies as it relates to standard border entry processing. As a result, he was arrested and cautioned reference to possession of forged Bahamas immigration landing stamps and overstaying. Both charged were ordered deported after payment of fines or serving of custodial sentences. The nation, economy, and people have paid the price for poor decisions, selective enforcement, and lackadaisical implementation of COVID-19 protocols by the government. This is suggested by the Democratic National Alliance's spokesperson on health and candidate for the Mount Moriah constituency, Dr. Carneal Farquharson. She's lamenting the mismanagement of the COVID-19 pandemic by the minister-led administration since 2020. Her comments come as the country is in the third wave of the pandemic.
It is clear that the third wave of this pandemic is being poorly managed. This situation is worsened by the lack of communication between policymakers and healthcare professionals on the ground. The Minister of Health has doubled down on the government's position not to impose additional restrictions, even as COVID-positive cases and hospitalizations continue to rise. The minister's comment continued to contradict the position and recommendations of the Consultant Physician Staff Association, Bahamas Doctors Union, and Nurses Union.
Dr. Farquharson contends it's unfortunate and unacceptable that these key stakeholders and professionals on the front line are being excluded from the substantive consultation while overworked, under-resourced, and not properly compensated. She adds that it's also mind-boggling that the minister administration put a freeze on the hiring of physicians and refuses to renew expired physician contracts in the middle of a pandemic.
This pandemonium exists while our nurses and healthcare professionals are being enticed and recruited by the United States, Canada, and Europe. The DNA submits that it is nonsensical to implement policies which reduce our minimal healthcare resources in a pandemic and with new variants of the virus emerging. The minister's logic on the achievement of herd immunity by June 2021 is baffling and flawed, based on the number of vaccines available or expected by that date.
The party is calling on the government to get its act together and engage frontline healthcare workers in meaningful discussions to better manage this pandemic. You're watching Jcn News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.